Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
Welcome back to Queen Consolidated, a Southgate Media Group podcast dedicated to the hit CW show Arrow, starring Stephen Amell and Emily Beth Rickards. With me, as always, is the lovely Kelly.
Hey, hey!
So, episode about Felicity. Wondering what Kelly's gonna give this as a grade.
I might surprise you.
Bias podcast. Everybody loves, well, I shouldn't say everybody, just about everybody loves the character of Felicity Smoak and loves Emily Beth Rickards even more. So I saw lots of praise on the internet, both on Twitter and Tumblr and Facebook. But of course, as always, there was some dissension among the ranks, and I totally get why. This has been a bumpy season for Arrow. And every time I think we're turning the corner, they pull the rug from underneath me. But I think this time we are seriously setting the stage for the season to start. The thing that I will say is that they are letting the emotional resonance ring true for all the characters. And for me, that's more important than action.
Yes.
At this point, because it's season 3 and everybody in some way or another feels either shrouded in mystery or emotionally constipated. And it just shouldn't be like that in season 3. So I'm going to give them credit where credit is due.
We needed to see more of Felicity's backstory for a long time, and we've known something happened to her. So it was good to get to see what happened to her.
I don't think this was the only thing that happened to her.
Oh, I agree. No, this isn't the only thing, but this was the start of her change.
It was a little heavy-handed, but I forgave them because Arrow has a tendency to be heavy-handed with their themes and stuff. And I think that's what works best for Arrow. It's because it's based on a comic book show, and comic books are sometimes morality plays.
Right. It's absolutely like an episode of Star Trek, yes.
Yes, exactly. And so it's okay, embrace it as long as you work it within the framework of the story that you're trying to tell and the overreaching plot of the season. Go for it. Lay it on thick. I don't mind. I really think that that's where the writers shine best, when it hits every single character on some level. You know what I mean?
Yes. Absolutely. They have to hit everybody, because otherwise it ends up feeling like it's feeling very disjointed. Like we don't, like some of the characters grow and other ones stay stagnant, and that's not good.
Yeah, exactly. And I do think that they finally kind of realized that. And you can see their efforts on like Thea and Roy. Maybe not Diggle so much. They started and then they stopped. Like they tend to do with Diggle. But I have every confidence by the end of the season we're going to get back around to Diggle. I think his story arc is really huge in the second half of the season. So I'm looking forward to that, obviously. But it was great getting to know a little bit about Felicity.
Yes.
And it was ladies' night. Did you notice? Like the boys took the back seat and the girls had the A, B, and C stories. And I like that.
Yes, that was really nice. I mean, we don't get to see that very often, and it was kind of neat because, while we were being told Felicity's story, and by two versions of Felicity, of Tale of Two Felicities, we had a little bit from Laurel, and she wasn't so whiny this week. I mean, she still had a moment where, kind of a duh moment, but at least she wasn't whiny, because whiny, it just makes me want to slap her. We did get some whiny from Thea.
But at least she's 20, and it's a little easier to take.
Exactly. And she has reason. I mean, she's related to both men, and, that's got to be difficult. You kind of understand it from Thea.
Yeah, I don't know. All in all, I see what they're trying to do, and I'm just waiting for better execution, I guess. But I appreciate these puzzle pieces and these breadcrumbs that they're giving us. It's like they've kind of stopped spoon feeding us, and I appreciate it, but at the same time, it was like, I think it was too soon. Let's get into some of the technical stuff, I guess. The first thing I want to talk about are the ratings. Oh my gosh, guys. I'm so proud of us. We trended Who is Felicity Smoak for I think it was 2 hours. Worldwide trend, by the way.
That's amazing.
And our ratings went up to a 1.1, and we had about 2,930,000 people watching. Way up from last week. I mean, if you didn't think that Emily Bett and Felicity were the heart of the show, now you know.
Felicity saved the day.
Per usual. Let's just be real. Oh, well, I guess we'll get to the hardcore technical stuff now. So, of course, we're talking about episode 305, The Secret Origin of Felicity Smoak. We had a newcomer to the Arrow writer's room who was paired up with the Dutcher Ben Slakowski. Our newcomer was Brian Ford Sullivan. Brian happens to be the guy who started the Futon Critic review website.
Ah, cool.
So, yeah, I was just like, I know that name. Wait a chick.
Yeah.
Well, Brian is just a regular TV writer. He's done tons and tons and tons of that stuff, too. But he's just never done Arrow or any superhero-y stuff before. So I thought he did a really good job pairing him with Ben Sikowski. He gets along great with everybody. It was like the newcomer and the veteran. Let's hash it out and make something great. So, yeah, I'm proud of them. I like the emotional depth of this episode.
Yeah. And interesting messages.
Yes. Oh, my God. So, okay, this episode aired on the 5th of November. How perfect can you get? With the brother eye kind of thing. Even though he was really a selfish kind of twit. At first, it didn't seem like it. Thought we were going to have a Robin Hood situation. I've been waiting on the Robin Hood situation for a while.
You did notice that that's what's in Felicity's apartment, yeah.
Oh, I've known that since the summer. But yeah, I like that, and that's in the Easter eggs that I'll get to. But yeah, so I thought that's where we were going, and I was excited, and then I was like, oh, missed opportunity. But at first, I was like, this is the perfect episode for the 5th of November. Revolution and dissension and anarchy. And then we had Michael Schultz return. He's been here since season 1. His first episode that he ever directed was Damage, which is one of my favorite episodes. It holds a special place in my heart. I think he does a really great job, especially with where John Bangery is the guy that I go to for action. Michael Schultz gets it, and he lets the moments linger, and it's not quick shots and rapid fire pace. You know what I'm saying?
And this needed that lingering, definitely.
And it was very, very noticeable, but in a good way, with the scenes between Oliver and Felicity.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes they like to rush it and the transitions are kind of choppy, but I thought that they were very pitch perfect, very relatable, softened Oliver. He got a really great performance out of Emily Bett and Steven. So
yeah, and I even loved the fun, awkward moments, with Felicity and her boss. Oh yeah, those were awesome.
Just, yeah, I like Michael Schultz, and, hopefully he gets to do another episode before the season is over with, especially if it's an emotional one. So I'm looking forward to seeing him again. It's always a pleasure to have him. So let's hit him with the synopsis.
A cyber terrorist attacks Starling City, threatening to shut down all banks and set everyone on an even socioeconomic status. While Oliver and Roy attempt to keep the peace on the streets, Felicity works to locate the virus that's attacking the city's infrastructure. Felicity quickly realizes that she designed the virus 5 years earlier and that it's unstoppable. Felicity's mother, Donna, shows up unannounced, and the two have a falling out over how different they are from each other. Felicity soon realizes that her mother was unknowingly sent by the cyber terrorist, revealed to be Felicity's ex-boyfriend Cooper, who kidnaps them both. Using Donna as leverage, the terrorist forces Felicity to divert a set of armored vehicles carrying newly minted money to their location. Felicity uses the system to also contact Oliver, who arrives with Roy and Diggle to stop the terrorist and his team. Laurel continues to train with Ted Grant and reveals to him the real reason that she's learning to fight. Meanwhile, Roy begins having nightmares that he's the one who killed Sarah.
So yeah, we had some guest stars. Our perennial guest stars are, of course, special guest star Brandon Roth as Ray Palmer, and J.R. Ramirez as Ted Grant, aka Wildcat, and the Atom, respectively.
Yes.
And then we also had the lovely and fabulous Charlotte Ross as Donna Smoak. You know, she was on the Heights. Back when I was in like 4th grade, that was like my jam. And it was A+ casting too. Like they look like mother and daughter. It was so good.
Yeah.
And then we had Nolan Gerard Funk, and like I spent half this damn episode going, he looks so familiar. And yes, I know he was on Glee, but like I told you guys, in the case of Grant Gustin, I don't do Glee. Like, I've never seen a single episode of Glee.
Me either.
So, like, but I had seen him on something, and he was a bad guy. And so I was like, where do I know this guy from? Then I go, Awkward on MTV. He was the douchebag that ruined Jenna's life and made her break up with Maddie. And I was like, oh, this guy is probably going to be another douchebag. And what do you know? What do you freaking know? That the poor guy, Nolan's a sweet guy. Met him at one of those MTV parties, and he's not a douchebag at all, and so now he's typecast probably. Poor guy.
Aww.
Arrow suffered this week from villainitis. You know, they don't do villains very well. It's a shame because this kid, he pulls, like on Awkward, he pulled off the smarmy douchebag so perfect. It was ridiculous. And I mean, maybe that should have been channeled a little more forethought given to this character, considering, you know, this is Felicity's first boyfriend. That's a huge deal. You can tell a lot about a person from their first love, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And their relationship with their mother.
That's rather terrifying to think about, but yes.
I know. I just didn't have enough time with J.R. Ramirez, but what I lacked in J.R. Ramirez time, they made up for it with Brandon Roth. And he killed as Ray Palmer this week, aka Steve Jobs.
Yes.
Smart wearables? It's Apple. Let's just be real. It's Apple, right? Oh, you have a 3GS. I'm launching the 6 in a couple of days.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what they were going for. I was thinking Samsung because that's what I wear, but I have a Gear.
I just admit it tickled me pink, but I did absolutely love Brandon Roth this week. I missed him last week. I missed him sorely.
Yes. He just plays understated so well and awkward.
Yes!
He's as awkward as Felicity, just in a completely different way.
It's a little creepy, but like Brandon Roth manages to make it endearing.
Yes. Well, that's the way Felicity is, too. I mean, if you really think about it.
Yeah, I definitely do. She actually has chemistry. Katie Cassidy and J.R. Ramirez actually have chemistry and oomph. And like, I haven't ever really seen Katie Cassidy have chemistry with anybody in the cast. And it's probably because in my head, you know, all the characters that she interacts with, she has so much baggage, and I just can't, you know, picture it. Like, even with Tommy, that's a lot of baggage. And so it's nice to see. She had chemistry with the Huntress, and then she had chemistry with Nysa. So it's weird that she doesn't have chemistry with the main cast, and I don't know if that's intentional or not.
I'm just really glad that they decided that Oliver decided not to train her.
Yeah, me too, for so many reasons. I wanted Sarah to stick around and train her to be real,
Mm-hmm.
and it broke my heart that this is the road that they went down. Because we could have kept Sarah around, and she could have gone on to be another thing, because there's plenty of comic book characters who start off as one character and evolve into another. And somebody close to them takes their mantle, you know? So it did break my heart, but that Laurel's going out on her own means so much more to me, you know? Why don't you like it? Let me ask you that.
Well, A, it would have caused all kinds of problems. B, I think it's good because she needed to find herself on her own. You know, she needed to deal with her demons, and Oliver's got enough on his own. He really can't help her deal with hers.
But they should, though. They have so much. I know it's an awkward thing, but they do have that one thing in common. And she is carrying all this weight on her own, and it seems like so is he in a certain way about the Sarah thing. And so it kind of breaks my heart that this is a missed opportunity, because Laurel's always on the outside. She's always the emotional foil. It's why the audience can't connect with her, because she's not connected to the main character in any real meaningful way.
Well, I think they will eventually.
It'll be too late, though. It's already too late for a lot of people. This is season 3.
Yeah. I mean, I think they will go there, but I think that I think they wanted her to she needed to be stronger, and she needed to be able to hold her own before she could, you know, start joining the team.
Yeah, just give Laurel something emotional that we as an audience can relate to. Like, I like, if I wasn't a comic book fan, I literally wouldn't care about Laurel's journey into being Black Canary, because it's too little too late.
Yeah.
And in the way that they've handled this, it's just no way she can win, because Sarah, there's no, like, even though I didn't like the character of Sarah as the Canary, she kicked butt, she rocked, she owned that role.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
agreed.
people are bitter about it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is what it is. But let's talk about some themes. In the Arrow universe, your past always comes back to haunt you.
That's true.
Living by your own rules, that both applies to Felicity and Thea. And also, your past necessarily doesn't have to define your present or your future. And that's pretty much for everybody.
And your family's your family.
I already kind of touched on the villain, but the villain was Cooper Sheldon, Felicity's ex-boyfriend from college, from her MIT days. And he fell a little flat for me. It was kind of obvious. Like, I don't know why they kept having Felicity beat around the bush and get to the point that he's dead. Oh, it couldn't be him. It's just like, oh, we already know it's him. It's cliche.
Yeah, because he came in with a big bang.
Here we go. Punny business.
Yup. For somebody who supposedly loved somebody and, you know, put himself in prison to keep her out, he sure did have a funny way of showing it. Well, I understand that you could easily become bitter, you know, but he wasn't in prison that whole time. He was working for the government. So I guess it just kind of was a little hard to swallow.
Yeah, he was a sellout. Like, how dare you call Felicity a corporate lapdog? You're the sellout because it all boiled down to money. And it was a stupid plan to get money, especially if you're as a talented hacker as he thought he was. Just ridiculous. Like, let's be real. Okay, you might not be able to get cash money in hand, but you can still get money. If you're a hacker, it's as easy as, I mean, not that I know. It's not like it's a hobby I partake in or anything, but it is easy as pie if you have if you know the right things to do, and it was just ridiculous.
And that he didn't have the intellect to do what Felicity did in like 15 seconds.
But she did say, when it comes to hacking, she is the fastest woman alive, and it is very true, apparently. It was just weird. It was a weird choice. It just was so cheesy and cliche. I was like, it's Arrow. Of course it's the person you think is dead. Of course it is.
Armored trucks are armored. Why were they like flinching when the guys are shooting at them?
They should have called Black Hawk Security.
Yeah. How do you shoot an arrow through an RPG?
Did you notice Roy's surprise face? He's like, it worked. All right, let's talk about some flashbacks.
Oh boy.
Felicity went through her goth phase. Oh my gosh.
Was her hair black or purple? It was kind of hard to tell.
It was black with purple, like, streaks. Now, I love Emily Bett. Don't you guys jump on me. But I think that, I know I complain about the flashbacks, but I definitely do think that Stephen Amell does a great job of differentiating his time periods. And it's because he's done it more. He's had more practice at it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I did have a hard time kind of buying that, and it didn't help with the gimmicky black hair and stuff, you know.
Yeah I mean, I get that they were trying to make her look drastically different because they wanted to show the drastic change she made after. I get that, but yeah, it was definitely you could tell that she was not used to playing a younger her.
The writing kind of failed her too, because I didn't really feel, all I felt was like, oh hey, I have a boyfriend.
You could tell she was trying to play it younger and more free than she plays Felicity. But yeah, it was definitely probably more difficult for her because she's not done it before. There wasn't as wide a variety in her behavior and mannerisms as there are with Steven.
Yeah, and like I said, the writing also, they struggle with it. Like, I think the best job they ever did was with Diggle in his war flashbacks, but he still carries that soldier persona with who he is in the present day. At least that's how I feel like David Rance portrays him. And so it was just a little easier. And, you know, we already had that backstory for Lila, so when we see them and how they meet, it was easier to connect. And then the undertaking was something that we were super invested in. And you know what I mean? We got to see how, you know, Sarah got on the boat and all this other stuff. So when they have done other flashbacks that aren't revolved around Oliver, we've been a little more invested and prepared for the story.
Right.
And even though this is Felicity and we love her, it's just like, just a little snafu.
Yeah.
That's all. I did like that it was darker.
Yeah. Oh, agreed. And that she was more playful.
Yeah, she was. It's really funny. Like she was all dark and grungy and gothy, but like her spirit was so much freer and lighter.
It's sad that we don't see more of that. I really like Ray, and it's going to be interesting to see the direction that they go in. You know, he's kind of a different kind of geek than Felicity is. So their relationship could be really interesting. But hopefully they don't go there, if you know what I mean. keep it professional, folks. You know, I like Ray. We would like to keep him around. Enough said.
Yeah, and fun fact, I don't know if you guys follow any of, Team Arrow, production-wise or star-wise, on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that, but he posted a picture of him getting fitted for a mask, and also, I believe he tweeted some preliminary art of his suit, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And they promised us that he wasn't going to have, like, the atom powers of shrinking, so just probably, like, a tech suit.
That I could see, because remember he was looking at those plans the other week.
Yes, which we'll come to in the Easter eggs and my crackpot theories.
Hey.
Well, no, that's not a crackpot theory. That's actually probably what's going to happen. All I know is I like Ray. I want to keep him around either on Arrow or The Flash. I want to kind of talk about Team Arrow this week. I was a little disappointed that the boys, like, I guess this is why they kind of like let Felicity have these 2 weeks off or whatever, because the boys really did get a chance to shine and feel like a team, like all three of them. Arrow, Roy and Oliver definitely felt like a team, but Diggle got sidelined again with that dang baby.
Well, he did come with a takedown, you know.
Very true, but still. Like, I don't know. When Felicity's not around, people get a chance to shine. And I don't blame them. Like, the fandom really does love Felicity. She does make things better most of the time. But I think that it's starting to be a crutch, a visible crutch.
Oh, hey, can we talk about the opening shot?
Oh, sure.
Seeing each of the training, that was really kind of cool.
Yeah, and then you see Felicity struggling to do 5 sit-ups.
But you know what I'm saying? I mean, it was kind of cool if you think about, well, because they said, I wonder how a normal person starts their day. And then they go to Felicity saying she's a normal person.
When she's not really, though. But comparatively speaking to everybody else, yeah, she is normal. Yeah, normal is relative, and in this case, yes, it applies.
But, that was really kind of cool. And it was fun to see. It was fun to see Oliver whip Roy's butt. But we never found out why Roy was tired.
He hasn't been sleeping well this whole 5 months.
We figured that out at the end.
No, but he's been saying that since the season began. That's a breadcrumb, obviously, by the end of this episode. But yeah, I did like it, but I thought that it was odd in an episode that was entitled The Secret Origins of Felicity Smoak that's how we were starting the episode. It
was a really quick kind of a where's everybody at? Roll call.
No, I get it, but I'm over training montages and stuff on Arrow. Like, I guess it's because of that shirtless stuff that we had so much of in season 1 and even some of season 2. It's just like, it's just kind of tainted. But it was great to see that Oliver actually kept his shirt on, and so did Roy.
And we got Laurel training, and we got Thea training. Well, that was a mess, but
again, it's that thing to make Laurel look like a loose cannon that drives me crazy.
Well, or that she's, she was tired mentally and physically. Was kind of what I was thinking was, she was at her limit. She was at that point. And kind of the point I was thinking was that, you're not ready. If it was a real bad guy out there, you'd be hurting. Keep training, girl.
Yeah, she's got a long way to go. I swear, like, she can't be Black Canary at the end of the season. It's just not going to be believable. I'm going to be really ticked off. Because if that's the case, they will have rushed it. And a lot of people are really invested in them doing this right and doing it well. You guys know that I'm a super technical person, so we had like 45 scenes this week.
Holy cow.
Yeah, we had, which I couldn't believe it when I was breaking it down, because this episode's like...
That's like a scene in less than a minute.
Yeah, it was 42 minutes and 5 seconds, and we had 45 scenes. I don't know what it was, but like for some reason, the first half of this episode dragged for me a little bit.
Yeah.
And so when I'm looking at it, I'm like, what? And it took us like 9 minutes and 17 seconds to get to the title card. Yeah, guys, I know. I'm sorry. I'm a little OCD. It's the longest in season 3 so far, and it's been a while since we've done that. I think it was maybe the finale of season 2 last time that we took that long to get to the title card. So it's just like they wanted to suck you in, but like it didn't work for me. Do you know what I'm saying?
I just thought it was kind of weird how they did it.
I don't know, but like the pacing just felt a little off, and I guess it's because they kept trying to hold back that reveal that Felicity thought he was dead.
Probably.
And then all the little subplots with Oliver and Thea, like that's the thing that Arrow has been suffering with, is what to interject into what episode, and it just keeps breaking the momentum of what we built on, like story and plot wise. We just keep getting it punctuated with this stuff, and like, let's just be real. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but it felt like a standalone filler episode.
Because you could put it not anywhere, but a lot of places.
It's a lot of stuff happening, and a lot of stuff to set up for the crossover, and that's why I think we just have had such a rough go of it to start the season off.
Yeah, it's been very choppy and inconsistent.
Yeah, and so the whole thing with Roy, like, that could literally go anywhere for right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just like, I don't know. It felt weird. And like the twists at the end, they don't feel as organic as they do on The Flash. So I wish they would kind of knock it off at this point. It was a cool twist, but it was just like, you really? This episode? Like, let's end on a happy Felicity and her mom thing. Like, or the happy Thea and Oliver thing. Like, it's okay to end the episode happy every now and then. I don't know, like I said, it's a couple of technical things with the pacing, but I thought that the dialogue was great, and I thought that they like I said, this was they built upon the emotional stuff that they've been setting up all season. I like the follow through. Let's talk about Quentin really quick, because he didn't really have that much.
Yeah, but he stood up to Laurel.
It wasn't even like he stood up to her. He was trying to, he questioned her, like, what is going, like, I was getting worried that he didn't actually notice.
Yeah, well, I mean, how you not gonna notice her almost causing a riot?
Well, I'm just saying, he keeps telling her, you're not your sister, you're not the Arrow, slow down, and giving her these little patronizing kisses on her forehead. It was just like, dude, Quentin, come on, open your eyes, give her that razzle dazzle Quentin pep talk. And so he finally did. It was sweet and needed, and I like that he didn't make her talk to him. He just said, talk to somebody.
Yeah, and that's very good advice. Because, I mean, I don't think she could talk to him about it. Well, obviously she can't, because she hasn't told him. But she has to talk to somebody, and her coach is about the best person she could talk to, really. It's not going to be the rest of the team.
Which is a shame. A missed opportunity to bring Laurel into the actual fold, instead of having her be such an outsider. But, it is what it is. And I have trust and faith that they have something, in the grand scheme of things, they have something bigger and better for Laurel than what I would have that knee-jerk reaction to want to write for Laurel, just to make the fans like her, But, for me this week, she was a lot less whiny, which made me happy. Whiny is no good it doesn't look good on anybody.
That's what really turns me off about Laurel, is when she goes there. I can understand a rash decision here or there. I can understand, she's upset and angry, and she has a lot of grief to work out. I can get that, and I can identify with that. But when you start making her this whiny person who enjoys their authority, turn it off, I
always feel like for the writers, Laurel is their punch bag. She is always getting bombarded with shots from other characters, like the main characters. Always. Okay, so yeah, Diggle. My domesticated, sweet, sweet man.
He was so cute. He got to draw his gun.
Oh my God, they put him in a ski mask. Like,
yes.
You can't put a black man in a ski mask. Did you watch the news even?
We'll call it a balaclava. That makes it better, right?
Not really. That makes it worse somehow. But no, I was like, somebody get him a suit. Diggle needs a suit. It's official. That just, like, he did get to go on the field, but like, he just sticks out like a sore thumb now that Roy has a costume too.
Well, he would stick out like a sore thumb because he's ginormous anyway. But yeah, he does, because he doesn't have an outfit.
But no, like, I was glad to see Diggle out in the field, but I was really annoyed. Like, who leaves their 6-week-old baby? I mean, yes, it's Felicity's mom, but you don't know that girl. You don't know that lady?
Absolutely not me.
They made that up. Diggle, baby, Lila's gonna kick your butt.
Okay, now, how did Felicity's mom get a car seat?
Exactly, see? But no, like, I totally agree with Oliver about not having the baby down there, especially since, like, everybody has a key, like Nysa, Laurel, Slade. You know, like, I totally got Oliver's point, but then again, I don't really like the baby story for Diggle, so I'm gonna, anytime somebody's anti-baby.
Okay, so is the bad guy gonna stay out of upstairs just because it's upstairs and it's not the Arrow Cave?
But if they come looking for them, is what I'm saying. Apparently, everybody knows how to find them down there.
Yeah, but, I mean, that doesn't mean the people upstairs would be any safer. They could hold the people hostage upstairs, too. You know, I'm just saying, it's not that much safer upstairs than it is downstairs, really.
I'm just saying, according to the show, every bad guy knows that's his secret hideout and how to get in. They don't really go through the top. But I don't know, poor Diggle. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, I want good things for Diggle, but it's just kind of getting in the way of Diggle being vital to the story.
Agreed. Something's gonna happen.
Hopefully, Lila was just a honeypot and that's not really his kid. It'll be hurtful, but it'll be easier in the end. You know what I mean? Let's talk about Roy, because I want to talk about the show me, don't tell me method that they've been doing with Roy. I've been saying he's been a pod person. His rage has been gone. He's been yes sir, no sir. He's so in sync with Oliver, but he doesn't get too many lines. And when he does, you know, it's kind of these wise jokes. And it's usually when, like, taking Felicity's place. You know what I mean? It was weird because he was totally in sync, whether he was following Oliver behind on the old Canary bike. They were shooting arrows together at the same time. He started the "You have failed this city" line for Oliver.
Yes.
The dutiful sidekick, you know, in such a short amount of time, it's like, what is really the deal with Roy? This is not the Roy that we've grown to know. What has changed?
Thea has changed.
So that's guilt. He thinks it's his fault that she left, so he's just trying to be perfect for Oliver.
Part of it is that he does feel guilty about her leaving and about the change that's happened in her, because he can see that too, obviously. You know, he sees how she's changed, and she's become harder. And I think he does feel guilty about that.
Yeah, I do like the point you were making about Roy, but I don't know. It feels like something. I mean, now obviously they want us to feel like it's been a more sinister thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think is realizing with Sarah's death that he's got to grow up. You know, this is life and death. What they do is life and death, and that, you know, you gotta live and you gotta do your best every day, because you never know when it's going to end. And then him having these nightmares about Sarah and her death, you know, that's pretty sobering too. You know, if he's afraid that he's the one who did it, which I don't think he was.
Do you think it's his subconscious working out that he killed those cops?
Yes, that's what I think it is. When he killed those cops, he wasn't in his right mind. And I think it's his subconscious superimposing. Yeah. And he, you know, subconsciously he realizes he did it, but he doesn't know that he did it. And his brain box is trying to work that out.
Yeah, because okay, let's just say that he did kill Sarah like he dreamed. That means that the Mirror Crew actually is just lying dormant in his system.
Yeah, because to throw an arrow and to go, I mean, that deep.
For you guys that don't know, Roy means red in Scottish. So this is definitely a red herring. But I'm worried about Roy. Like, just when I'm starting to like him, apparently he's evil. Just my luck.
Oh, I don't know that he's evil.
Let's talk about Oliver before we kind of get back to Felicity. How did you like Oliver this episode?
He seemed softer this episode, which I kind of like. It was nice to see him actually, like, showing some emotions. Like a normal functioning, not being emotionally constipated. And, you know, everybody has issues with their siblings. I mean, we love them, but, you know, doggone, sometimes, you know, you're just going to butt heads, and sometimes you're not going to agree. And I think, you know, he pushed Thea a couple times, and Thea pushed back. And I think good for Thea. I mean, not that I agree with her stance, but she is her own person, and her brother needs to realize that. She's not going to listen to him all the time. But yeah, I mean, it was good to see them kind of bury the hatchet.
I thought Oliver was much softer this episode, especially with Felicity. Like, I don't know, he's starting to be the man that I want him to be. He was understanding, he was compassionate. You know, he didn't yell at Felicity. He calmed her down. He was there for her.
He supported her.
He was her, he was like her guiding light, if you will. He's like, it's okay. We'll figure this out. We're here for you.
Yeah.
Take time to go be with your family, because if you don't have your head in the game, then there's no point in us doing this. The Tracer's running. Go be with your mother, And he uses something that Thea told him to get through to Felicity. And it's just like, oh my God, you're listening to other people, Oliver. Who is this? Are you a pop person too? Did they get you too, Oliver? Because I don't want the old Oliver. I like this new Oliver. Can we keep him? I need the queen sibling relationship to be repaired by the end of the season. I need the secrets to come out. I need them to reconcile and come to a firm resolution about who they are to one another, outside of anybody else or any other force.
Yeah.
And I felt like the end of this episode was a good start, but of course it's just the beginning of the season. Anything can happen. And
watching Merlin stare in at them, that wasn't creepy at all.
Papa Creeper?
Yeah.
Okay, so Felicity. I liked present day Felicity more than I like past Felicity.
Uh-huh.
It's weird because she was so upbeat and light and happy.
Past Felicity, there are parts to her I wish we had today, but yet I can see how she lost those. Through this episode, you could see how she tempered herself because she didn't want to go down that path again, I think. She didn't want to let, she kind of let her emotions and her relationship overrule her moral center and her compass of what was right. And I think that's kind of where she toned that down because she didn't want that to happen again. But in her relationships with people, she's a little bit more guarded.
That has to do with her dad, too, I think, probably.
Yeah, probably. And that happened really early in her life, according to this episode. So, but I just think that she's kind of distanced herself and kind of tempered her relationships with people from that experience.
I think that in the last flashback where we see basically the beginnings of the Felicity that we know and love with the, business casual blonde hair glasses. Like, that was just that was the death of her innocence, you know what I mean? It was good to get a glimpse into her past, but I don't know, like, I was actually more interested in how Felicity got from MIT to Queens Consolidated. She's from Vegas, born and raised, and then she goes to, she goes to MIT. Like, what was that transition like for her? Like, was she goth when she was in high school, or was that something she adopted while she was in college?
Right.
Lots of people feel freer to do things that they wouldn't normally do in high school in college. So I'm more curious about that. It's a first step.
Yeah, well, we could see that too. I mean, I bet we get more backstory later.
The dad is the big thing. Like, they were definitely sidestepping this issue again. And so I think that is going to come at a later season, and it's going to be a huge thing. What if it's Ra's al Ghul?
What if it is?
What if she's the long-lost daughter of Ra's al Ghul? Because remember how Nysa reacted to her? And I don't know if that's just because that's how they make everybody react to Felicity. Like, literally, they do. If you ever notice, like, everybody's taken aback by Felicity in a good way. I don't know. Like, it was just something when Nysa first met her. I was just like, what is that about?
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
And so, like, there's all this big hush-hush about Felicity's dad. And, Matt Mabel is blonde hair, blue eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, she dyes her hair, so the guy would have to have dark hair, I guess. I don't know.
Just depends.
Maybe Ra's al Ghul dyes his hair. All in all, it was a pretty good, solid first effort for Felicity backstory. I look forward to more.
More, please.
Okay, so there is something that I want to talk about before we get to the awards. I got a question. It was from Anonymous on Tumblr, and they wanted to know how I graded for the podcast. I don't know if yours is different from how you do reviews and stuff or whatever.
Oh, yeah, it can be. It definitely can be, because for the podcast, I'm looking for a little bit different things than I'm looking for my television reviews. Because in television reviews, I'm more critical of television-y kind of things, where while we're talking podcast, I'm assuming you're all fans of the show, and I am talking about the show in context of the show. So yeah, mine can be different.
Well, I base mine on like 4 things: acting, character, plot, and writing.
Yep.
And everything starts out with a score of 100. And then I take away points based on the cons that I perceive to be in the episode, and then I add back in the pros for the, then I add points based on the pros that I perceive of the episode, and then I convert it to a letter scale.
Very cool.
So yeah, onwards and upwards to the awards portion of this podcast. Grade?
I give this week's a B.
I knew it. I know. I totally called it.
Better than last week. Definitely better than last week. We got some more of the elements we want. Now, does it have a ways to go? Absolutely.
Yeah. I gave it a B minus. And like I said, it was a filler episode, but it was a great standalone. And it was filling in backstory for a character that we love. So I was here for that. And, it gave us emotional depth and, and also, it was so light on the action. The action that was in this episode was really clumsy.
Yeah.
Like the machine gun thing and then the armored truck thing. I was just like, Arrow's known for action, and some critics say, maybe Arrow shouldn't rely so much on it, but I say if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we get our critical acclaim for. People are, up in arms about how James Bamford doesn't have an Emmy for stunt choreography.
Yep.
Showcase what the people hear about and then fill in all the rest of the other stuff.
But we did get some gems too. We got the awkward Ray Palmer, and we got
absolutely
the good Oliver and Felicity, and we got some interesting moments too. So,
but so let's talk about the scene of the night. I hope we don't have the same scene of the night. I had 10. I narrowed it down to 10 out of 45.
Oh, holy cow!
No, I know which one I want to pick, but I'm saying in case you pick mine, I have 9 other ones. Okay.
I'm going to be totally oddball. I'm going to say the scene where Thea stands up to Oliver. We haven't seen a whole lot of Thea, and that scene just, usually Thea just kind of gets dumped on.
Forgotten about, lied to.
Her brother makes and her brother makes decisions for other people that affect her, and she just kind of gets dumped on. And for her to say, hey, look, this is my life. If you want to be a part of it, great. If you don't want to be a part of it, okay. But, I'd prefer you be a part of it, kind of thing. She made her stand. She told him he wasn't going to bulldoze her over anymore, but that, she wanted him in her life. And I got to say bravo for her, because she really hasn't had the opportunity to do that. The tension between them was really great.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more, madam. I totally love Thea standing up for herself and having a backbone and all of that stuff. But I will say I was a sucker for Donna in the Felicity conversation, where Donna talks about how she tried, at 6 years old, she knew she had this special child and she couldn't keep up because, what do you do when you are a mom and your child is getting on the cusp of being smarter than you, and you want what's best for them, but you have this crappy cocktail waitress job, and what if they want to go to a fancy college, and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And how kids aren't appreciative of the things that their parents do for them because they're snot-nosed, self-absorbed little twits. It's just really relatable, real, raw.
Yeah, very much so.
And then, of course, I liked all the scenes with Felicity and Donna. Charlotte Ross needs to move to Starling City because we need a new... And, they made so many parallels to Moira, the best of Moira, that it just, it made me, kind of miss Moira. And, we need a mama bear back on the show.
Yeah. And, you kind of saw Oliver have that moment where it was almost like, he was talking about his mom when he was talking to Felicity. She's your mom.
At least you have one. It's almost what you just knew that's what he wanted to say. She's still here.
She's here, and love her while you got her.
Smoke them if you got them.
Oh!
Another arrow in Kelly's little heart. I couldn't resist. But yeah, I really enjoyed that scene. I thought Charlotte Ross was amazing, and like I said, she's welcome back. They need to utilize her for sure.
And she was wonderfully awkward too.
In a completely different way.
Yes. That was what was so funny, was they were awkward, but yet so different, but so awkward.
And I want to commend them for not going the stereotypical Jewish mom route.
Yes.
Like, that's what I was kind of expecting. I was very hesitant and tentative, and it was just, like, completely not what I expected. Line of the night.
I loved Ray's little air quote moment with Felicity, you know. That was great. Love the porn star line. That was funny. There were some real good ones this week.
It was from Quentin, actually. And he goes, secrets hurt, baby. Sometimes more than the truth. And I'm like, yes! Yes. For the love of goodness, for all things that are sweet and still intact in Starling City, tell the man! Oliver goes to Diggle. We can't bring her down there. Diggle, why not, Oliver? Who's she gonna tell? And then Diggle gives him the death glare. And then, of course, Donna, how many millionaires do you know? Let's see. Most memorable moment?
The look on Felicity's face when she realizes that her mom is wearing that smartwatch. That, and the line with Oliver, the scene with Oliver where he tells her, you know, she's your mom. You know, you need to get your head in the game.
Oh, we totally glossed over the Felicity line that I definitely thought you were going to get. I haven't even looked at a cup of coffee yet.
Yes, that was cute, too.
Like that shit, you need a t-shirt. That's what you need a t-shirt of.
I do. You know, if you guys haven't seen it yet, I have a Wonder Woman mug at my desk at work. Well, it's the size of almost a soup bowl. That's my morning cup of coffee.
My most memorable moment was, again, it's weird. Roy and Diggle have been having these silent conversations when Oliver and Felicity start talking. They're like, let's get out of here. Let's go to the back of the arrow cave.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm enjoying that. Like, even though you don't see them have much interaction, it's just like they're filling in that, they're giving us that silent storytelling about what happened during these 5 months, that everybody kind of started to form this cohesive, and it started to be more believable. Character of the night or MVP of the episode? Doesn't necessarily have to be a character.
Okay, I got two, because they were both really important, and they weren't the main character, but I'd say Felicity's mom and Ray.
Yep. Of course. No, one was comedic relief, and one really gave us insight into Felicity. It's like, you can see Felicity not wanting to be that, and that was her drive in life. She didn't want to end up like her mother.
Yes.
She didn't want to be a cocktail waitress, and honestly, let's be real, like, Felicity's mom wasn't a cocktail waitress. Like, they kind of tell you. She was a stripper, because she said, you know, I worked in 6-inch heels, and if you've ever been to Vegas, you know that the servers actually don't wear heels.
Right.
Just throwing that out there. And the girls look way too nice to be a cocktail waitress.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, they kind of just left it for interpretation, but as a person who lived in Vegas, I know. And then they say you were all hair and nails and all that stuff, and I'm just like, yep, that's what they were trying to tell us. Yeah, I totally agree. More specifically, I think that it was Charlotte that was the MVP. She just charmed her way right into my little heart, and she never left, and I was just really impressed with this casting. Most improved, Oliver. There you go.
Way to go, Oliver.
Best action? Can we skip that this week?
Let's skip that this week, because there wasn't a whole lot of action. Best
character interaction.
I would say it's a close tie. I would probably say Oliver and Felicity. It's either going to be Oliver and Felicity or Felicity and her mom, because Oliver was so much more improved and so supportive of Felicity, and that's something we haven't seen. And we have needed to see desperately, because doggone, she's there for him all the time.
Yeah, my pick was obviously Oliver and Thea, because that's the most meaningful relationship on the show for me. And then Felicity and her mom just wowed me. They nailed it.
Yeah, they were awesome. And we obviously need her mom back.
Biggest shock of the night, surprise of the night, obviously the manufacturer one with Roy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about my stupid crackpot theory.
Okay.
My stupid crackpot theory, it comes from watching way too much Young Justice, which was a DC animated cartoon over on the Cartoon Network. And it was just about the younger members, and they actually had like Roy Harper, Red Arrow, and Flash Arsenal. And he had a plot on that particular cartoon where he was actually a clone, and he was an undercover clone for the Light. And I've been saying that Roy has been acting like a pod person lately. And I think maybe that this Roy that's working with Team Arrow is a clone. And maybe he really did kill Sarah, and that the real Roy is still out there that needs to be rescued.
So does Clone have Mirakuru, or does real Roy have Mirakuru?
Both of them had it. I think this was like Slade's last-ditch effort to really hurt Oliver.
That could be very interesting.
Because they are trying to work Manu Bennett and Slade back into, by the end of season 3, beginning of season 4. And so that's what really gave me because he was missing for a couple of days. And, you know, this is sci-fi fantasy. So that's my crackpot theory. My actual theory is that at the end of the episode, Ray is seen on his tablet and saying that's pretty brilliant. Now, we've already got a nod to OMAC. Now, OMAC has a second counterpart to it, which is called Big Brother, and it's a satellite of types. But in this case, it could be tweaked to use it as the super virus to control the satellite or whatever. And because we got Amanda Waller mentioned last week in the flashback about the satellite that she used to spy on Oliver. And we combine that with Big Brother virus, bada boom, bada bing, we're getting OMAC, and that's going to be season 3's big event at the end of the season. And I also don't think that Cooper was working for the NSA. I think it was either Argus, Checkmate, or Hive, because we have to get back to Hive eventually, right?
That's right. So we're going to have Person of Arrow?
Probably.
Yeah. Or Arrow of Interest.
Person of Arrow. Everybody's an archer. Nobody carries a gun except Diggle. All right. Let's talk about some shameless plugs. Of course, we are rebuilding our social media. So if you would please be a dear and follow us on QC_SMG pod over on Twitter. And our email is queenconsolidated.smg@gmail.com. We appreciate any type of feedback you want to leave us. You know, you guys can leave audio clips and we can patch it in and answer your questions for you that way. We take email. You can tweet us. It's all good. We even have a Tumblr, queenconsolidatedpodcast.tumblr.com. But as for our personal shameless plugs and self-promotion, Kelly, hit them with your stuff.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at SuperSquint. That's SuperSquint. And you can listen to me also on, of course, Flashpoint, the Flash podcast. And I also co-host on Before the Bat, which is a Gotham podcast, also on SMG. And you can read my Flash reviews at voiceoftv.com.
Well, as for me, you guys should totally follow me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. I've just basically been live tweeting all the DC stuff. So you got Arrow, Flash, Constantine, and Gotham. So if you're into that, come join me. And of course, you can find me as well on the Flashpoint. And I too also write for Voice TV, although I write Arrow reviews. So if you are not busy on a Thursday afternoon and you're curious about my first impressions, check it out. So that is about it. We hope you've enjoyed our little discussion of episode 305, The Secret Origin of Felicity Smoak. Well, don't fail this podcast. Be sure to tune in next week.
Signing off from Queen Consolidated.